Tariq pe Tariq, the NFU or NFFU fight, 75 plus adjournment and 8 years waiting, and the silence still hurts. Hello, you are watching The Global Eye with me, Masmi. They call themselves the warriors in uniform. They answered the nation's call without bargaining for comfort or convenience. Yet the most basic claim of fairness, the non-functional financial upgradation, which we know as NFU or NFFU, has been pushed from one court date to another for nearly a decade. What began as a favorable tribunal judgment in 2016 has been tied up in appeals and listings since April 2017. The fight led by Colonel Mukul has now seen over 75 adjournments, testing the patience and dignity of the men and women who served and who are serving. What happened this week? Let me explain you in short. The NFU matter pending since 2017 was listed for final hearing on 17 September 2025 but was not taken up. It was relisted on 18 September 2025 and again the case was not heard. Colonel Mukul and his co-petitioners waited the whole day in court corridors only to return home drained with no resolution. Listen in what Colonel Mukul says.
The NFU case status as on 18th September 2025. The case was listed yesterday also, that is 17 September, and our turn did not come, and again it was listed today on 18 September as item number 2 effectively. However, there was a case ahead of us which was of All India Insurance Company Pensioners Association, and that case took the whole day. We kept on waiting, however our turn did not come, and now our case has been adjourned for 7th of October 25. I do not have much hopes even on that day because I expect the same old story which is being repeated since last 9 years with 75 adjournments till date. Whenever our matter reaches the government through its Attorney General expresses its inability to be present in the court on that day, and I feel it's a tactics which is being employed by the government. It is very sad to observe that everywhere the armed forces are being utilized. When it comes to protecting our motherland on the borders or in aid to civil authorities whenever there is some natural calamity in the country or for any other mundane job like a child getting into a borewell, armed forces are utilized, although the actual job is that of civil bureaucracy. However, when it comes to giving its due, the armed forces are just forgotten. It's only chest thumping which is made when it is Op Sindoor or surgical strikes or any other such operations. But when it comes to give its due recognition to the armed forces, the government has been very harsh. Thank you.
The case, despite being older, was bypassed while newer pension cases were heard. The next date is now 7th October 2025. Who is obstructing the progress? And what may be the possible reasons behind the delays? Deliberate delay as a tactic? Appealing a favorable judgment and then seeking repeated adjournments allows the system to postpone justice indefinitely. And the judicial calendar pressure? The Supreme Court has a huge backlog, but it raises serious concerns when newer cases are prioritized over the one pending since 2017. And the bureaucratic resistance. Granting NFU to the armed forces carries financial implications. Ministries often resist such changes to avoid long-term liabilities. And do we see the institutional ego here? Civil-military parity has always been a sensitive matter. Bureaucrats guarding their turf may quietly stall progress. Political silence, a lack of clear direction or will at the top leaves veterans stuck in limbo. A silence that becomes a form of obstruction itself. And the human cost, the emotional register, cannot be ignored. Colonel Mukul and his fellow fighters are not faceless litigants. They are veterans who once wore the nation's uniform. After waiting an entire day in the Supreme Court, they returned home, exhausted and disappointed. The struggle is no longer just about financial parity. It has become a matter of dignity. Each adjournment is not just a procedural delay, but a deep wound to their morale and faith in the system. And why the nation should care? This is not merely about pay scales, it is about fairness, morale and respect for those who safeguard the country. And they are deserving their rights. A decade-long delay sends a dangerous message. The nation calls its soldiers in crisis but closes its doors when they ask for justice. Morale is not built on slogans or parades but on the assurance that those who serve will be treated fairly. And now we need to ask, if the nation can summon the armed forces at a moment's notice, why can't it address their rights with equal urgency? Why is the 2017 case sidelined while newer pension cases are prioritized? Is the delay a matter of cost or is it a matter of bureaucratic ego? Does the system hope to wear down the petitioners until they lose hope? Who benefits from keeping justice frozen for 8 or rather 9 long years? A call and a promise is left. The fight is far from over. On 7th October 2025, the warriors in a courtroom uniform will once again walk into the Supreme Court, not asking for privilege, but demanding fairness. They will continue their battle despite fatigue, disappointment, and systematic resistance. Justice delayed is justice denied. And every adjournment is another reminder that when it comes to protecting the nation, the soldiers are indispensable. Yes, they are indispensable. We treat them like that. But when it comes to protecting their rights, they are left waiting outside locked doors. The fights will go on. We hope we do not get another date of hearing. For more updates and insights, keep watching The Global Eye.